Off we go on a Tuesday. It's the 23rd of December. Welcome inside the vault for a Ravens lunch hour live stream. I'm Bobby Trossett. This is my co-host and partner, Sarah Ellison. And today's show is brought to you by our friends at Manta Sleep. Partner, we've got a lot to get to. John Harbaugh was pelted with questions, multiple follow-up questions, and a number of different topics were addressed yesterday at his Monday press conference, the day after, of course, the loss to New England on Sunday Night Football. It was job security. It was Steve Bisciotti. It was Zay Flowers, Lamar Jackson. We're going to get into all that and more, including Isaiah Likely's post-game viral video clip on his way out of M&T Bank Stadium. He has since clarified what a couple of accounts within the fan base, Sarah, thought were disparaging comments about his team. Isaiah took to Twitter to say otherwise, so we'll get into that and a whole lot more. Buckle up because, man, this news cycle is only getting more and more intense as things get more and more, let's be honest, Sarah, it's dire right now. It is dire for them. They have caught a break related to DK Metcalf and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll catch up on that in just a bit. But because we've been following the Kalshi odds and the chances and the analytics of where the Ravens stand right now, the AFC Championship favorites, according to Kalshi, are the Buffalo Bills at 21%. And just I don't know, maybe folks don't even want to see this, but the Ravens are on the list at 2%. And Sarah, there is still a scenario. They need a little bit of help, but there is still a scenario where they could end up clinching a playoff spot if they win out and if Cleveland finds a way to beat Pittsburgh this coming weekend on Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and I don't know that anybody really believes it's going to happen. I think we're all appropriately have appropriate expectations since it's at 2%. I don't sense a lot of optimism. If anything, there might be 2% optimism around there. But you can see the schedules remaining for each of these two teams that are fighting for the AFC North. At Cleveland versus Baltimore. Baltimore would have to travel to Pittsburgh in Week 18. And then the Green Bay Packers obviously having some injury woes of their own. In fact, I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. It's just like you said the other night, Bobby, when Marlon Humphrey got away with tackling a receiver before the ball ever got there. It's like the football gods are trying to help the Ravens. They've been trying to help, but it's almost like the Ravens keep pushing it back because there are injuries in Green Bay. There is the DK Metcalf issue, which we will address later on. He will not be playing in Cleveland. So, and maybe even in Week 18. So the football gods are trying to help the Ravens. It's just kind of, will they accept that help?
Yeah, by the way, Marlon knew what we all knew. I listened to some of his podcasts this morning. He was stunned that wasn't called, that DPI that wasn't. The DPI that wasn't. Yeah. So not a ton else addressed on that podcast other than him really being speechless at times just about where they're at, where this season has gone, and now obviously what they have in front of them, which is something that John Harbaugh talked about as it relates to his job security, Sarah, that look, the Packers are what's in front of him right now. And speaking to that matchup at Green Bay coming up on Saturday night, the Ravens have opened as 2.5-point underdogs, according to DraftKings. We have no idea whether or not Lamar will be suiting up and playing for the Ravens that night. But as far as Vegas is concerned, here on a Tuesday leading into a Saturday game on a short week, Ravens are 2.5-point underdogs at Lambeau.
Yeah, and so, Bobby, that kind of leads us. Obviously, we've been talking quite a bit about John Harbaugh's job security. We were talking about it back in September. Things quieted. We all said, well, John Harbaugh has the opportunity ahead of him to pull his team out of this hole. And they started to do that. And then they self-destructed again this last week. And so for the first time in a long time, maybe before Lamar Jackson was hired, I'm trying to remember if John Harbaugh was actually asked questions about his job security. It's been a long time. And of course it's been a long time because the Ravens have been in playoff contention ever since Lamar Jackson got here. So there's really been no need, I guess, except for in the eyes of some fans, to ask him those questions. But it has boiled over to a point where he was asked those questions. He was asked quite a few about his job security. I'm just going to let his answers run. He was asked about Steve Bisciotti and their communication. And so this is how he handled those legitimate questions.
Don't make the playoffs. There's a focus on potential staff turnover. Do you have any fear for your own job security here? Or Do you anticipate being here next year?
Yeah. Thanks for asking that question, Bo. Well, first of all, yeah, no, that's good. It's a great question. I mean, it's a sport. It's just how it works, you know. And one thing I always have believed is that, first of all, coaching at any level is a day-to-day job, you know, and your job is to do the best job you can today, and to do everything you can to help your players and your coaches, if you're a head coach, be the best they can be every single day. And it's never been about keeping a job. And there's no such thing as like your job or my job. You know, we have responsibilities. We're given opportunities to steward those responsibilities, and you're given a job to do that until you're not, you know, and then you try to do the best. I try to do the job, not try to keep the job, because there's no such thing as having a job, just doing a job. And so my focus is on always, and has been for the last 18 years here and the last 41 years in coaching, or is it 42? It's up there. It's been to try to do the best job I can today and fight as hard as I can so the guys can have the best chance to be successful today. And anything after today, I'm not thinking about, because, you know, it's not given for us to think about. We don't have control over that except for the job we do today. And if we do a good enough job today, then the opportunity to do that job or a different job will be there tomorrow. And that's what you hope for.
Along those lines, what has the dialogue been like with you and Steve recently? I mean, the last 3 home games you guys have lost, it's kind of uncharacteristic. What is his message? What has his tone been in those discussions?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of messages. Steve has been fantastic. You know, he's a great leader. He's supportive. He's also challenging. You know, Steve wants to win. You know, he wants to be successful. He's one of the. I've been around a lot of competitors, you know, in this job, or even in my family, you know, and there's no bigger competitor than Steve Bisciotti, and that's one of the many things I admire about him and appreciate of him. So he's been great. He's been challenging in every great kind of way, and I appreciate that. And he helps me to be better, and that's what I'm grateful for.
In those discussions, have there's been talks about the future? Has there been any kind of assurances or anything like that?
Now, the future is today. The future is the Green Bay Packers. I mean, that's what we're looking at.
All right, Bobby, what was your reaction when you kind of first heard all those questions and his answers?
First and foremost, I think you need to tip your cap to the reporters that kind of handled things in bunches there, right? Bo Smolka gets at it from, hey, you know, when in professional sports, and, you know, John, at first you kind of felt like he took exception to the question, but then he went on to say, like, no, it's a fair one. And in professional sports, this is when you're not producing and results are the ultimate way this business is driven, then this is how it works. So Bo handled that aspect of it. Luke Jones then came in from a Steve Bisciotti perspective and asked about that. Both answers were very macro level. And then Jamison Hensley at the end there talked about assurances. And John said, hey, we're looking ahead. There's nothing that surprised me about any of that, but I do want to tip my cap to all 3 of those reporters for getting at this, because they're all fair questions, and they handled a number of different of areas related to the current issue and the topic at hand related to John and the underperformance of his team in recent years. So it starts with that for me. In terms of how John chose to handle all of those questions, I'm not surprised. That's a lot of it you've heard in the past, and ultimately all he can do is control what's ahead of him right now. He was recently extended, but ultimately that doesn't really matter, because what matters is the results, and the results have been subpar.
Yeah, he definitely seemed ready for that question.
Yeah.
So he's clearly aware of media scrutiny, fans calling for his job. He was ready. He had that whole speech kind of ready. And to be honest, it was word salad, right? Like, you don't have a job, you do a job, and it's like, oh, whatever. That's like, fans aren't like, oh, you know what I mean? Or like media, like, oh yeah, you're right. You do a job that changes everything. Like, no, the question is like, is Steve Bisciotti going to have you as the head coach next year? That's the question. And so that being said, how else is he supposed
yeah.
What else is he supposed to say? Like, he's not going to be like, yeah, like Steve's been telling me if I don't get us to the playoffs, he's going to fire me. I guarantee you that's not how Steve leads. If Steve's going to fire him, he's not going to hold it over his head. He's not going to say, do this or else. There's no threats. That's not how you, it's not a successful model for leadership. That being said, you know, and then the whole thing, he's like, well, what do you talk about with Steve? And he's like, he challenges me. I definitely could see that. Steve is not, he just doesn't sit around. He's definitely going to be challenging Harbs, and he's going to say exactly what he thinks and what he feels. I've interacted with him enough to know that. And then he said, no, we haven't talked about my future. And that doesn't surprise me either. That again, like I say, he's not going to hold it over him and threaten him and do that in the middle of the season. So that being said, because it's like not John's decision of whether or not he's the head coach of the Ravens next year. It's not his decision. It's not Eric DeCosta's decision. It's not Ozzie Newsome's decision. It's not Lamar Jackson's decision. It's Steve Bisciotti's decision. I don't even know how to gauge my hopefulness for this, but I think Steve Bisciotti needs to come back and do a State of the Ravens. If he does decide, either way, he needs to speak. He needs to speak at the end of the year this year. If he decides to move on from John Harbaugh, obviously he's going to have to come to a press conference and explain his reasoning for moving on. But if he also just decides to stand by John Harbaugh, we are far from 2019, where he stopped doing these State of the Raven press conferences where they went 14-2 and Lamar Jackson is this sophomore sensation that got an MVP. We're far from that. And I feel like it's time for him to return and not just do, one-offs. Maybe he'll do some Q&As with like the team website. That's not going to do it. I also don't want him to just do it with, say, like the Baltimore Sun and just a one-off with Jeff Zrebeck. I'd prefer that over nothing. But I feel like he needs to have another State of the Ravens press conference where all of the press get to attend and ask him questions.
I couldn't agree more. It's about transparency and visibility.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying he hasn't been a transparent owner, but the visibility part of it, look, nobody's asking for you to be Jerry Jones, but this is right. This moment in time feels significant for the Ravens organization. They're 8 years in to the Lamar Jackson era. They've got a ton of accolades and wins to show for it, but ultimately January hasn't been good enough. Recent years in the postseason clearly have not been good enough. They may not even play in the postseason this year. And knowing that this is like an inflection point, like this to me right now in Ravens history, you need the main voice to come out from, hiding is not the right word, but to come out from his privacy wall, if you will, and make himself available as a way of not only communication and visibility, but also direction. Where is this team heading? And I think, look, I've been on record for saying that if they do indeed make a change at the top, then it'll be a reset, not a rebuild. And you can go back and forth in terms of how you define those two areas. But they have core pieces that are intact and under contract for the foreseeable future. So this is not a rebuild in my mind. It could be a rebuild, as you noted earlier in the week, from a coaching staff perspective, because if Harbaugh goes, there's likely a number to follow as well. That's just what happens when different staffs come in. But there needs to be that main voice. It can't come from Eric DeCosta. It can't come from anybody else but the top. Right. I totally agree with you there, and I totally agree with what you said at the top, too. John was ready for yesterday related to the job security questions. And it almost begs the question, is he aware that the time could be coming to an end?
I mean, he's aware that people are asking for that. So at the very least, but I do want to say this. I'm with you that Steve Bisciotti doesn't need to be Jerry Jones. Like I actually really respect the way he appoints people to do jobs and he lets them do it. Like he doesn't get in their way. He's in the background. He's talking to his top guys every single day. So I respect that he's not in the media undercutting them. Like if you're going to hire somebody to do a job, let them do their job. That being said, the decision for head coach is Steve Bisciotti's job. That's not delegated to anybody else. And that's why I do think that he should speak after the season. And as Jake Loki, I thought, put it here pretty well yesterday, he said, you went 3-6 at home. You got punked out of your own building yet again. And the stadium was filled with opposing fans, drowning out the broadcast with MVP chants for their quarterback. It wasn't for Lamar. It was for Drake May, who smoked the defense. He says, I hope Steve Bisciotti was watching this one very, very closely. And so these are questions for Steve and Steve alone. Like, what is your reaction when you're a stadium, you see fans flooding out at the end of these games, that in your stadium, your team is 3-6 when your coach's seat is very hot. Like, it is only questions for him and him alone. So not surprisingly, Bobby, they also talked quite a bit about John Harbaugh's discussion or decisions and the delegation he does around Derrick Henry. Now, while I don't blame John for any of the answer he just gave, because it's not his decision of whether to hire or fire himself, this one was a little bit more, I don't know. Obviously, I've crashed out already over the Derrick Henry usage this last week. So he was pelted with questions about this too. It went on for about 5 minutes. Lots of word salad here too. I cut it down a bit. It's still about 2.5, just so you can get an idea, because he kind of had to repeat himself a bit. But here are a lot of the questions and his explanations of what happened with Derrick Henry and why they didn't use him for the last 2 drives of the game.
Who decides the rotation, and if not you, why not say, no, this is Derrick Henry, we need to have him in the game right now?
Yeah. Well, we have a rotation. The rotation is Derrick and Keaton are first and second down backs. And we came to that in the last few weeks and made sure that on all those plays, it was one of those 2 guys. That obvious pass was third down only for Rasheen, which I think he had 9 plays on. And then the rotation was 2-1 as far as starting the series off. And depending on how long the series goes, Derrick gets 4 or 5 runs, and then he's ready. He needs a break. So Keaton comes in, or vice versa. The last series was a conversation between Willie and Derrick, and they decided that Keaton was going to start the series off as part of the rotation, and that Derrick was going to come in that series. If I had looking back on it right now, to your point, I'd have grabbed it and I said, no, I'll put Derrick in the game. But that's not really the way it works in real time. It's the guys doing the rotation, the coach doing the rotation, and it's also the plays that are called. Certain plays are set up for Keaton, and that opening play was more of a Keaton play.
In real time, were you aware that Derrick could not touch the ball after the second TD? And how much conversation do you have?
Well, we're talking about 6 plays. So we're talking about 6 plays that went back-to-back in a series, and we're trying to get the first down. So, no, the conversation is not really geared toward, who's going in the game on a play, because plays are getting called fast. And players are running on the field fast based on the game plan, what the rotating coach decides to do, what the tag on the play is, and who's got that play. And there's reasons for all that are game plan. So I'm not defending all that. And heck no, you can pick plays or who goes in or when they go in. But it's not just as simple as, oh, Derrick Henry didn't play the whole 4th quarter. It was those plays back to back. He was going to go in. That was part of the plan. And it was felt in making those decisions, guys running on off the field as plays are being called in the rotation to go that direction. As I look back on it, I'm like, sure, I see the point. But I'm also not in the midst of saying, oh, whoa, time out. Keaton, come on. I want Derrick in the game in that moment. So that's a reality too. So I'm not trying to make excuses for it, but trying to put it in perspective. That's how it works.
On a fundamental level, though, isn't the thought, at least for a lot of people, is Derrick Henry was signed to be in the game at that time, at this times of these games.
Yeah. I'm not arguing that. That's why I'm saying if I look back on it now, I'd rather have him out there. Absolutely.
My man Bo Smoker came in with an assignment-driven day yesterday, didn't he? My man was ready. He needed questions answered, didn't he?
Was that Bo at the end again? Was that Bo again? That's 2 times in a row.
We've had 3 of Bo questions. 3 Bo questions, 2 of which were Derrick Henry related. The other was job security. So well done to Bo Smoker and the rest of the beat yesterday, because these are all questions, Sarah, that we need answers to, that the fan base is clamoring for answers to. And as you noted in our clip here in our waiting room where we pull up these clips, there was a lot of word salad. I know you just mentioned that a minute ago with some of his answers earlier on, but ultimately the final follow-up question there is probably where it starts and ends. You brought the King in to do what the King does best, not just close out games, but close out seasons. And
right
there you have it.
Right. And all of that was word salad again to me. Like, okay, it's nice to know that they go a 2-1 rotation. They're they're your first and second down backs. Rasheen Ali is your third down back. By the way, everybody knew that, including opposing defenses, because it's so clear. It's so almost so rigid that everybody knows what's coming because of the way you rotate them. He's talking about, hey, Willie Taggart and Derrick Henry, we're talking about it. Also, the play call, that was a play call for Keaton. So he's talking about all these different layers. Like, I have the 2-1 rotation here. They're first and second down backs, and Todd Monken's calling the plays, and Willie and this are doing that. Stop. Just stop. Stop it. Stop it all. Oh, I would have to call a timeout. This one really bothered me. It was only 6 plays. Well, yeah, it was only 6 plays because you didn't have Derrick Henry out there. He's sitting out there and giving 5 yards here on the drive that he scored, 5 yards here, 22 yards here, 4 yards here, another. Like, come on. What are we doing? Nobody's asking you to call a timeout. Nobody's saying, oh, your hands are tied with the play call. Listen, the ending, you're right. It starts and ends with the ending question. But what did you sign him for? It's to close out games where you have an 11-point lead, which was built on his back anyway. Just stop with all this 2-1 rotation. There's a play called this with the sweep out, and that's usually a Keaton play. It's only 6 plays. No. You want to know how this is simplified? Especially given how many times this has happened before with Derrick Henry or in the AFC Championship game. Remember, J.K. Dobbins was ticked. Remember J.K. Dobbins called them out in post-game locker room when he was like, you didn't even call my number and we're a running team? This has been going on for years. So just stop it with all this. You're overcomplicating it. You sign Derrick Henry, what you say to your coaches, what you say to Derrick, what you say to Willie, and you've had all the time in the world to do it because this is not the first time you've been criticized for it. You say, hey, guys, we have a lead in the fourth quarter. We feed Derrick Henry, period. That's what we do. And you've nipped it in the bud, and you're not like, ooh, timeout, Todd. I don't like that play call because it's one for Keaton Mitchell. No, you say, hey, Todd, we've talked about this a million times. We have a double-digit lead. What are we going to do? What are going to be your play calls? It's going to be feed Derrick, right? I don't need to get in the nitty-gritty with you, but you're going to feed Derrick Henry when we have a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, right? If the answer is like, oh, of course, right back, then you say, no, okay, let me rephrase. This is what you're doing. You don't need to go talk to Willie. You don't need to go talk to Derrick. Like, sure, if Derrick's had like he did, he had 5 runs in a row where he scored a touchdown. If he's saying in the middle of that, I need a break, okay. But there was a whole offensive series for the other team, and then they came back out and he had a whole drive again. He never came out, and now we're in the final drive. Why is Keaton Mitchell starting again? Like, give them some flexibility when he's talking about how much out of breath he is or how tired he might be in the course of a game. But this is ridiculous. It doesn't need to be this complicated. It's not this complicated. Just say when we're up in the fourth quarter, we're feeding Derrick Henry, and he comes out once in a while when he needs a blow, and then he's back in. That's what we're doing. That's our game plan. All of this is just talk. It's all talk. Get it done.
What's complicated is why we're sitting here trying to understand why the head coach isn't more hands-on in these moments. Like, for those who don't know, Willie Taggart is the running backs coach in Baltimore. He's been the running backs coach the last couple of years, and here he is for those that are watching us today. He and the King on the sideline. Why isn't John more hands-on? This is yet again another example of how, yes, he's explaining the minutia and the nuance, right? And how all this happens in real time. And hindsight is always 20/20. No one's disputing that.
You didn't need hindsight for this.
You don't need hindsight.
No.
you don't
and
need hindsight.
he also doesn't need to be more hands-on. Like, that's my point. Yeah, I get all that. You don't want to call a timeout. You don't want it. Fine. Then why isn't just the message from above? Why does it even need to be explained that in the fourth quarter, when you have a lead, we're going to feed Derrick Henry? Why do you need to even be more hands-on? Why isn't that just understood?
I guess what I'm saying is why was there a separate conversation being had between the running backs coach and Derrick? Like, why was that decision being made between the two of them and John not having any influence in it? I know this is all happening in maybe seconds, minutes, so on and so forth.
Well, that's a normal conversation that they have, and that's fine. He delegates that part of his job out. Like that part I'm okay with. Like if Willie Taggart is managing how these guys are feeling for the first 3 quarters and he's helping them with the rotation, they're talking it through, I'm fine with that delegation because there are similar conversations probably going on with every position group. So I think it's reasonable to say that Harbaugh is not going to be in all these smaller discussions with defensive backs or so when is Nate Wiggins going in? When is TJ Tampa coming in? We're doing a dime here. We're doing that. So he has to delegate that. So that's why I'm saying I get why in the middle of the game, he can't call a timeout and say, nope, I don't like the rotation that you guys discussed. I don't want to burn a timeout for that. That's fine. There's so many position groups going on. You'll see T. Martin talking with Lamar Jackson all the time, and he can't be in all the position group discussions. I'm fine with that. What I'm not fine with is that shouldn't even have to be discussed in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
that should already be a mandate. That's what I'm saying is before. I mean, they've been criticized so many times for this.
Yeah, no.
Why isn't it just in the fourth quarter we're feeding our backs and it's going to be led with Derrick Henry? Period. No discussion even needed.
Yeah, the delegating part I get.
Yeah.
The logistics of that is just simply about how you can't be in 2 places, 3 places, 4 places, 5 places at once. I get all that.
Yeah.
But the philosophy part of it, the strategizing part of it, what should be a given part of it.
Yes.
That's what leaves you so puzzled as to why it isn't, hey, it is closing time. It's time to go to our closer. Stick with our closer. Forget about a rotation. Forget about the whole process of rotating and snap counts and snap share and how things are going. Find a way to win. Find a way to win the game, close out the game. And like you said, the reason why you're in a position to close out the game is because of that player.
Mm-hmm.
Without Lamar. Ride him till you can't ride him anymore. And so yet again, he was ready. You already know he was ready for those questions. And it produced, like you said, 4 to 5 minutes worth of context, nuance, most of which was word salad. But you do also understand some of the realities of what he was talking about logistically on the sideline. It's just I don't think we're ever going to find the true clarity that is this repeated trend that's become a behavioral thing of theirs as an organization, leaning away from a player that ultimately puts them in a position to win games time and time again.
Right. And here's more context. Ryan Meek tweeted this out yesterday. Derrick Henry recorded a season-high 66.7 success rate. A 66.7 success rate. And you don't have him in to finish out the game. And totaled 52 rushing yards over expected last night, according to Next Gen Stats. Henry reached an average rushing speed of 13.81 miles per hour, his fastest of the season, and the second fastest mark since joining the Ravens last year. So it's not even like he's slowing down. What? It's a 66.7 success rate. And you're like, oh yeah, you guys, you guys decide. And I'm also upset with Derrick Henry too, by the way. Not as much as John Harbaugh, but dude. Oh yeah, Keaton, go ahead. You got the whole first drive, the penultimate drive, and we stalled. I just gave you the whole drive. Keaton, go back out there, start this final drive. We have about 2 minutes left. Game's on the line. Keaton, yeah, you go ahead, bud. You go ahead. Come on, Derrick. And again, I appreciate that he doesn't throw anybody under the bus. He's a good guy to work with, all that kind of stuff. But it's Derrick himself. It's what are you doing? Get out there. If you guys are having a discussion, it's partly your call. Why don't you want to get in there and get the ball? You just took a whole drive off. Get out there. What do you mean? Yeah, Keaton, you've earned this, buddy. I have a 66.7% success rate, and we just scored on my back a while ago. But, buddy, you earned this. Go back out there. No. Where's your fire, Derrick? Get out there. This is what you're signed for. This is what you do. It's December. It's the fourth quarter. You're running people over. Get out there. I don't understand it. I don't understand it on anybody's level. Todd Monken, John Harbaugh, Derrick Henry. The only person I understand is Keaton Mitchell, because Keaton's really? All right, buddy, I'm going out there. Sit down, Hall of Famer. Sure, I'll go out there.
what I understand is this was a rather lengthy opening topic with a lot to discuss. 30 minutes into the program, we should probably get some super chats and a sleep mask read in here and then get back to more takeaways from yesterday's press conference. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Manta Sleep. It's the official sleep mask partner of us here inside the vault. And these sleep masks give you true 100% blackout for deeper sleeps. You've got C-shaped eye cups for unbeatable side sleep comfort built in. I was just using mine on the airplane yesterday en route to upstate New York, where I now am for the week. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to everybody out there. Zero pressure is applied to your eyelids or lashes. You got advanced materials and ventilation that are built in for unmatched breathability. And when you go onto mantasleep.com, which we have linked in our show notes, there's also a link in the live chat right now as a pinned comment. You can use our discount code VAULT10. That's VAULT10. It'll get you 10% off your next purchase. You see all the sleep masks right here. When you toggle over every single one of them, they detail it down to the nitty gritty in terms of what these masks offer, what they're built with. The sleep earplugs are being promoted heavily right now because there's a couple new drops that you should go check out. The white noise machines, all the sleep add-ons, good stocking stuffer options here if you guys are looking for some last-minute ideas. And the bundles are cool as well. They put it all together for you in a little bit of a package that gives you a little bit of everything at mantasleep.com. You guys have been using our discount code so much that just 2 weeks ago, I think it was it reached its limit. So it's been reactivated. We appreciate you guys, and we appreciate Manta Sleep for the continued support of the program. We appreciate, as we transition to Super Chats, Lewis, who got us started 2 hours ago, Sarah, and I'll let you take this one to get us off and running.
Lewis says he's been a season ticket holder since the inception. He said, I heard that word compete again yesterday. LOL. It's all smoke now. If you look at Coach, he looks defeated. I appreciate what he's done, but a reset is needed. Merry Christmas. Love you too.
Lewis, Merry Christmas to you as well, brother. 2 days until we catch a short break. We appreciate servicing our customers. It's a privilege, and I don't take it for granted. Hashtag grateful, hashtag service, hashtag mail. He's one of our mail carriers out there in the VAULTRON community. Lewis, enjoy your time off, man. You have earned it. Nightmare Kilo is here on this Tuesday.
Says, if Harbs was coaching another team and we had to go up against him in playoffs, how would y'all feel approaching that game? Would you guys be nervous or scared? I mean, if it was Harbs and this makeup of the team, it'd be like, guys, just let them shoot themselves in the foot. Just stay calm all the way through. Ravens are going to Raven at some point.
Richard would like to know if we're sure that we don't want him as a moderator. Throwing himself out there to get in consideration for one of our off-season discussions that we could have. Here Like Zahir has become our newest channel member, and that brings us to Captain Hard, who writes, Lamar hasn't been hurt in 2 seasons. All his injuries this season are rest injuries. Played great start of the season, and last 2 games, the narrative is that the Ravens might need to move on. ESPN was discussing this morning the whole, could the Ravens get rid of John Harbaugh? Could they trade Lamar Jackson? There will be plenty of off-season commentaries if they don't make the postseason, maybe even if they do make the postseason, on those 2 topics. We will follow them accordingly, but ultimately the Ravens' biggest priority, Sarah, is making sure that extension gets done, because a $75 million cap hit in 2026 does not provide ample opportunity for team building. And by the way, Captain, he has been hurt, so I'm not sure where you're at on that one. He's been hurt since the Kansas City game when he went down with the hamstring. Femi's on record for saying that he thinks it happened week 1. And then obviously there's been a number of other ailments as well. So not sure if you're just trying to make a point there in terms of injury prone or not, but he's been banged up this year, no doubt. Tie My Shoe is here.
Haven't caught you guys live, but I have to get this off my chest. Mark Andrews deserves a lot of blame again. If he had just gone down, the Ravens would have been in field goal range because of the roughing call. That's true. They were offset. There was a roughing call, and because his pitch turned out to be a lateral forward pass, then they offset. So that hurt him with yardage for sure.
We've got a slide on that we can just cut to right now.
Yeah.
John Harbaugh was asked about it, and he did have a discussion, at least a chat, briefly with Mark Andrews, who told him that, it shouldn't have happened. I shouldn't have done it. I don't know if it was actually a lateral, but it was just a bad decision. Or that's what Mark said
That's what Mark
the night
told John.
prior.
Yes,
Yeah,
he said
yeah.
I shouldn't have done it. It was a bad decision.
Yeah, so
That's true.
just along those lines. Yeah, just trying to do too much. I mean, Harbaugh said it was, was it based on instinct? Yeah, well, it was the wrong instinct. I think we all know that. Easy for me to say here in this chair, but it was the wrong instinct from a guy that was trying to make a play, pressing, and obviously ill-advised. Richard said, honestly, Harbaugh sounds like he was given notice. Wildlife Wale is celebrating 7 months of channel membership with us.
Well, it's not that hard to predict the questions that were coming. He knew based off of the criticism that was coming on Derrick Henry. And you knew because the fever pitch, I think he could have been ready for weeks on the job stuff because people have been talking about it. It's not that hard. It's not like anybody had to be like, hey, John, I'm going to ask you this. Like, it's hard. Of course, you know that's coming. Of course you do.
He's been around for too long not to foresee that, right? He's seen the amount of his peers that he's seen over the years, over 18 years, get the axe, you know, and 18 years is a hell. I mean, wow, almost 2 decades. It's the amount that happens over that span. The shelf life these days from a head coach perspective in all professional sports leagues are what? The average is probably like below 3 years. The fact that he's lasted 18 is beyond an outlier.
Yeah.
Wildlife Wale celebrating 7 months.
Finally, a day I can catch live session. I got some things to say. #Vault. All right.
And I think that means that they're coming up here as we get our way through here. Double F says Ravens about to propose a rule change to the NFL to get rid of the fourth quarter this offseason. Wildlife with one of the super chats that he teased was coming.
Harb's usual verbal fluff has gotten stale and contradicting. The hiding is trickling down.
And Rhino says, Mike the White Buffalo McDonald. M. Daddy, Mike the White Buffalo McDonald. How about that? Mike McDonald, nickname there from Rhino. M. Daddy is here.
He says, John has given us some great times over the years. That is definitely true. We appreciate him. He said, I think they should move him to the front office instead of firing him or mutually parting ways as the Ravens do it. It definitely won't be called the firing if they move on. It'll be, yes, they will make sure that, again, Steve Bisciotti may be sticking by him. If he doesn't, they're going to do it. It's not going to be called the firing.
The front office thing seems to have taken on a new life of its own within the fan base. The guy's 62 years old. You don't think he's going to want to continue to coach?
Yeah.
His entire life has been, he just said it, 41, 42 years. And his entire family has been based on coaching in professional football, collegiate football. John's going to continue to coach, I would imagine.
Like,
I just don't know where the front office narrative has taken on like this new meaning and people just run with it. Like, why? Why would he just transition to a front office role? Stunned by that. Robbie Pate says, I went to the game and the Pats fans were loud. You could hear it through the broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Morrow the Wizard is here.
Can you address season correlation and contract of unguaranteed money to Lamar? It seems suspect that this team is so inept on a pay Lamar year. Can you address season correlation?
I'm not sure what the question is.
I don't understand that part, but if he's asking about Lamar Jackson's contract, and he's talking about guaranteed money or unguaranteed money, I mean, he had a lot of guaranteed money. Are you talking about when they didn't do a fully guaranteed contract? I'm sorry, Marlo, I want to answer your question, but I'm not quite understanding season correlation and contract of unguaranteed money.
It seems suspect that this team is so inept on a pay Lamar year. Inept at what? Winning?
Is he saying that the season was bad and he thinks that Lamar has unguaranteed money, so he's saying that maybe they set him up? Is that what he's implying?
I don't know, Morrow. Maybe you can clarify in the live chat and we'll look out for what you're saying.
But $29 million of next year is fully guaranteed on the 5th day of 2025. That's according to Spot right here. $29 million of his salary coming up is fully guaranteed on the 5th day of 2025. So it sounds like his $29 million is already guaranteed for next year, if I'm reading this correctly.
Okay. I'm seeing if he's written in any clarifications here.
Yeah, he's saying the Ravens are trying to control the market by having a down year to get better contracts. Oh, so in the extension year? So do you think that but that doesn't make any sense. He's been injured all year. Like Lamar himself, I mean, he's been injured and he's been dictating whether or not he plays and how much he plays. We just saw the back. So I'm not in on that conspiracy now.
Dark Thunder 35 says, hindsight Harbaugh always waits until after the fact to make changes. This is the limitation of having a CEO-style head coach who specializes in special teams. He's a product of a bygone era. Wildlife is back with another super chat.
Wildlife says, coach explaining how your big money back isn't on the field in big money situations is flaming hot cow manure, he says.
And Double F says, earlier in the year, seemed like whenever Keaton would break a big run, they stopped using him. No game feel. Just don't play the hot. Just don't play the hot hand.
It does feel like there's no game feel.
Yeah.
Talking about rotations.
Well, and speaking of feel, Sarah, what's been the biggest, it's funny, until Derrick Henry came around, what was the biggest area of critique when it came to John Harbaugh on game day? It was game mismanagement.
Yeah.
You and I were in Vegas a couple years ago after the season ended in heartbreak fashion. And what was the big story? Oh, they're bringing in Jerry Rosburg to serve as like a game day type manager role for John, meaning reuniting with Jerry Rosburg, who used to be the longtime special teams coordinator.
Yeah.
And then it fell flat. Did they ever make a decision? I know they brought in Michalek, right? Tony Michalek from an officiating advisory role type standpoint for game day related items. But it's crazy. It wasn't all that long ago that's what we were talking about as the biggest, what's the word I'm looking for? Like gripe with John Harbaugh. Richard's
Real
here.
quick, Morrow followed up and he said the cap hit is higher next year if they keep him. And that's also not true. The cap hit, if there's no extension, which the Ravens want to do, if there's no extension, his cap hit is $74.5 million. If they just cut him, so he's saying next year, if they just cut him, the dead cap would be $86.5 million. So it's $12 million more. The Ravens aren't like torpedoing anything just so they don't have to pay Lamar. Like the best thing to do is to try to go win a Super Bowl with him, not torpedo the season.
Richard.
Yeah. Richard says Harb's coaches like my old job. Corporate policy trumps all. Absolutely no room for creativity, no feel for momentum, and delegates all tasks to employees. That's just it. Like just beat the hot hand.
Richard, the best part about this super chat, it's your old job. You left that you know what in the past. Well done, because that sounds like a horrible environment to be part of. Rafike writes, using Derrick Henry to close out games should be as natural as kicking extra points after touchdowns. It shouldn't need to be discussed. Captain, back.
Captain says, real question. Why in critical time is John not involved? Why I prefer an actual coach that's either offensive or defensive minded, not a motivator.
Q the Guru says the fact that Mark felt so comfortable trying to lateral the ball in that 2-minute drill lets me know that there is a lack of discipline and accountability. That lies on the coach. Time for a shift. Godlike creations.
Says the King giving Keaton the late game drive sounds like he wanted to win, but didn't want to be the reason why we lost. Hashtag fumble trauma.
G Money Bags. He and I had a spirited conversation yesterday morning. Appreciate the super chat, G Money. Goose Lex writes, am I wrong for not having John in such a high regard? Am I wrong for not having John in such a high regard? Yeah, we won a Super Bowl, but at this point, his shortcomings are overshadowing his achievements. Steve 0119.
He says, Ol Harb's passing the blame to Willie Taggart.
And here comes G Money, says, you had all this energy yesterday for me. Yesterday, insinuating that Lamar quit on the team. I never said that. And Sarah says he was definitely hurt, and you say nothing. Shaking my head. G Money's just making me shake my head because he's putting words in my mouth. But thanks for the super chat in order to do so, G Money. JL Green's here.
Says, all I know is Derrick Henry has given us a chance to win in nearly every game since arriving here, and the coaches have failed at using him correctly.
Wildlife says, going into the season with that offensive line and stubbornly sticking to it makes me question some things. And Captain Hart.
He says, I'm saying he's been healthy the last 2 seasons, and the narrative this year in the media, you would think he tore his ACL.
Okay, well, related to what actually happened on Sunday, Captain, it's a good segue. Here is John Harbaugh talking about the latest surrounding Lamar.
Lamar has a back contusion, painful, certainly. Saw him in here getting treatment this morning and this afternoon early, and he'll be working. He's been classified as day-to-day on that. Nothing beyond a contusion, but I don't want to minimize the severity and the pain level of that because it's legit, and that's where it stands.
Oof, boy, back contusion, Sarah. We saw a player at his locker room media scrum that he himself made available on yesterday's show. We played the entire 2+ minute clip. And not only was he wincing, not only was he in visible pain, but his voice almost was straining as he spoke, as if to say that back was forcing him to speak in a, yeah, I mean, it just, what's the right word that I'm looking for? Like he was almost straining to speak.
Yeah.
So I don't know how a player that's in that kind of position plays on a short week in Green Bay. But that's the latest with Lamar.
Yeah. Well, and it's good news that there was no, like, he was saying later, at least Jeff Strebeck tweeted, let's see where that is at. He tweeted that, is this it? No, that's Zay. But anyway, he tweeted that, we don't have it, that there was no, like, structural damage. So, like, some people were concerned that maybe he, like, fractured a rib or cracked something or something like that. And he was like, no, he had the scan. There was like no structural damage. He's saying it's quote unquote just a contusion or bruise, meaning there's no structural damage, but he doesn't want to underplay how painful that is. So I guess that's why he's classified as day-to-day, because there's no structural damage. And it's just like, can he get to a point where the pain subsides enough that he could play?
So
we'll see.
Just add it to the list.
Yeah.
Add it to the list. And speaking of injury lists, Voorhees will likely be on that this week. He is day-to-day with a foot. John Harbaugh said that Emory Jones, who replaced Andrew, played okay, but has a great future. Essentially saying that there were plenty of rookie moments that he put on tape. But as far as Voorhees, Sarah, who left the game on Sunday with a foot, he's day-to-day. So that is that. And as far
real
as
quick though, I wanted to play the video on that one real quick. I know we need to move, but he talked about Emory Jones in relief also, that I thought was interesting, his analysis of him.
I don't know how serious. I don't think it's another day-to-day one. You know, we'll see how it goes. I thought Emory played okay. You know, I mean, there's going to be plays that he's going to want back from a pass protection standpoint. But he competed. He's tough. He looked like a young player, but he looked like a good, talented young player. So I was really happy about that. You know. But there's nuances involved there that he's going to want to keep improving on. But you improve on those things by playing. There's no question about that. And I believe he's got a great future.
Yeah, he kind of kept going back and forth throughout the whole thing. That was a smaller clip. Like 1 minute, he's like, he played okay. And then he's like, but I guess he'll get better if he plays more. So he has a bright future. But it was almost as if he wanted to like defend having Voorhees in there, and that he feels like there's a bright future, but maybe isn't better than Voorhees right now in case Voorhees gets healthy and he's going to put him back in. That's the way I kind of read that.
I could see that. That's a decent interpretation.
Yeah.
As far as Zay Flowers is concerned, we'll get to Pro Bowl nods here in just a bit. By the way, Zay was one of 6 Ravens to earn that award, or that honor, let's call it. Harbaugh said that his job is to work with Zay to get him beyond these fumbling issues. Jeff Strebeck's tweet here. He said Flowers works too hard and is too talented to dismiss based on the fumbling problems. It's really been the only gripe, the only area of let's call it a weakness of Zay Flowers' game. The fact that he's being labeled as a speed skater by the Patriots linebacker is really it's been an exception to what's been a really successful start to his career. I mean, the guy has brought a lot to this Ravens offense, but some of the ball handling issues have obviously come back to bite them in big moments. Big moments.
Yeah.
First, it was the AFC Championship game. He had 2 drops last week in a win, but 2 drops, one of which would have been a touchdown. And then obviously this one, none bigger than this one in terms of what have you done for me lately on Sunday against New England.
He's so talented. There's so much talent. It's just like in these big moments. And Bobby, I went back and watched it again. He for sure had his arm out there with the ball when he was trying to make a cut.
Yeah,
It was
vulnerable.
It was so easy. We could all see it. It was so easy.
Yeah.
Like you can't do it. It's just like they tell you all the time: catch the ball, secure it high and tight against your chest. You might have one move you can make. Otherwise, like it's like almost like in these situations, you kind of want a little bit of Marquise Brown in him. Marquise Brown always fell down right away. It's like when you're in traffic, game's on the line, it's okay to go down. You have so many timeouts. There's so much time. Like, it's fine. You don't need to make it up all right here. You don't need to.
Zay's career has already had multiple 1,000-yard seasons.
Mm-hmm.
He clearly has rapport with Lamar. He is willing to run through you instead of around you, which is kind of what you just mentioned with the whole Marquise Brown thing, which I think a lot of fans have viewed them because of their measurables being similar as like a breath of fresh air when you look at Zay, because he isn't just going to go run out of bounds or fall to the ground. He's going to show you that level of tenacity and physicality, maybe is the better word. The physicality that Marquise didn't necessarily have. I saw a funny tweet. Maybe it won't be funny to some. Maybe it's too soon. This guy named Miles on Twitter wrote, if you ask Zay Flowers to drive from Florida to New York, he would go to Oklahoma first.
And then
North
back
and
up
south,
into
my
Texas,
man.
and then back
Come
up
on.
into Texas, and then start heading there.
As if this, right? It's English for bro, north to south. None of the jitterbug stuff. We love it. We love how you rumble and jumble and you jitterbug the heck out of your DBs that are coming after you, and your lateral quickness and your shiftiness and your elusiveness makes you who you are, which is part of what John was talking about. Like, one of the follow-up questions that he fielded was like, it's the same thing with Lamar. Like, you don't want to take away a player's greatness and instinctual awareness, particularly when it comes to their physicality and their God-gifted ability. But when you've now had this trend over 3 years that ultimately is costing them games,
Right?
There has to be a conversation had.
Exactly, because yes, their instincts are important, but they also have to combine that with just like smart situational awareness. Like, Zay, you fumbled the ball at the goal line a year ago. So you should know it's not worth trying to do too much. You also just watched Mark Andrews in the divisional round last year. He got punched out by trying to do too much. He started going horizontal instead of vertical. He was trying to do too much. And then Mark did it again with the forward pass. And it's just like, guys, when are you going to learn the lesson? Stop trying to do too much. You got to stop. And so, yes, embrace their God-given talent and some of their instincts, but you have to have smart situational awareness and be like, okay, I'm in traffic. I know I'm in traffic. I know guys are going to be coming from behind. I know this. It's not just the guy in front of me. And you just have to be aware of all of that.
It's a delicate balance because you don't want to put these guys in a box. That's going to be a lose-lose for everyone. But you also want to protect the football and protect these games because, the AFC Championship game ultimate outcome might look a little bit different if he hangs onto that ball at the goal line. And we've seen that happen at the goal line, not just with Zay. We all remember what happened Thanksgiving night as well. Rave writes, unofficial. Rave will be the moderator and trusted select the team that it will. Rave will be the moderator and trusted to select the team that will help him.
So he wants a moderator team.
No need to explain why. I think we all know. Official. Rave is on the top of the list. Per Bobby. Hashtag Ben Cleveland. Rave, all I can say is happy holidays. PW Travelers here, Sarah.
PW says, Merry Christmas, Bobby and Sarah. Watching mid-flight. Great. Hope you are on your way to celebrate with family, friends, or wherever else. Merry Christmas to you too.
Yeah, very cool. Safe travels. I took my first Allegiant airline experience yesterday from the Clearwater, St. Petersburg, Tampa airport into Albany, and crazy. It was not a full flight. and I couldn't get on the Wi-Fi or anything. I think it was just basically like a step up from Spirit, budget airline, but it was direct, and I couldn't get direct from Tampa to Albany. So I was like, oh, I'm taking this. Wildlife Wale says PR should have shut that L interview down. Against Ravens media rules and a horrible visual, in my opinion.
It would have been way worse if they shut it down and didn't let them ask questions about Henry and his job security and Bisciotti.
Am I missing something here?
I think he's talking about the take an L type L.
Oh,
he's talking about
Harbaugh's interview.
He's saying that the John Harbaugh's press conference was an L. He's like, shut it down. Yeah, that's the way I'm interpreting it.
Interesting. Let us know, because Lamar hasn't. Oh, you know what? No, he's talking about Lamar's.
Oh, he is talking
scrum.
about Lamar. Oh, yeah. Now I see what you're saying. If Lamar goes and does it, they're not going to tell Lamar, no, don't do media.
Hey, look, I can see where he's coming from in terms of how ominous that was and hard to watch. But man, if you don't walk away from that, Sarah, as you and I both did, being like, wow, that dude's a professional right there, and you appreciate his toughness and resiliency, man, I can't see eye to eye with you.
Yeah, and by the way, Wildlife did clarify it. Well, he was talking about Lamar's interview.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Because look, you may not like or agree or appreciate anything about Harbaugh's on yesterday, Sarah.
Yeah.
But he was thoughtful and he was transparent. And while a lot of it was word salad, like we already discussed in our open, I know, in our opening 30 minutes,
it was like he did what he's supposed to do, and again, that word salad on the job security. What else is he supposed to say?
Yeah.
And then he did. He just explained everything about Derrick Henry. I just think he's getting too caught up in all of it. It doesn't need to be that difficult. It just doesn't. And I think he's trying to make it seem difficult, and it's not.
And hey, maybe from an optics standpoint, I know this doesn't change anything. This doesn't mean much, but optics wise, he was receptive to every single question that he fielded.
Yeah.
In the past, we've seen him in prickly mode on Mondays.
Yeah.
Yesterday was not the day to do that, and he knew that, and I thought he handled it well.
Yeah.
Jay Porras writes, be aware that there is podcasts and interviews where Ed Reed and Anquan Bolden disapproved of Harbaugh. That 2012 run was led by the team. I truly believe we just need a refresh at this point. Merry Christmas, flock.
I mean, I did an eight episode podcast on the Harbaugh family. I talked to many players about that 2012 season. Obviously, very aware of not just 2012, but from 2008 until 2012, they were just butting heads quite a bit of the time. That being said, I spoke to a lot of them, and they felt like in the end it was the right thing, because the reason why they butted heads, I don't know about the Anquan Bolden stuff, but very aware of how much they butted heads for sure.
Anquan would be a good off-season guest for us to chase down. I know he's done pods every once in a while, so that'd be some good perspective for us to track down. Wildlife with another super chat. Wildlife, you're the man.
Things to say. Here we go.
You're the man, brother. Appreciate you. If you can't hold the ball, all the talent is irrelevant. Jameis Winston led the NFL in touchdowns and was a backup the next season because he also led the NFL in picks. If you can't keep the ball, get off the field. Sudesh.
Yep. He said, let's go Cleveland Browns. Oh, man, Sudesh is holding on to that 2% hope. I actually admire that.
We're going to get to the Pittsburgh side of things, that matchup that is very relevant to that game coming up in just a couple minutes. But again, none of it matters if the Ravens don't win on Saturday night in Green Bay. None of it.
Can I just interrupt this program?
Yeah, your face as if something just happened. What's happening over there? I thought I said something that was sour.
My 16-year-old son has been pacing back and forth. Yes, I'm live, Gardner. He's now getting
What's he doing over
there? He's
been
pacing back and forth in front of my doors, which are glass. And I'm like, what is he doing? So he comes back and I check my text messages. Here's what he says. Could you slide your credit card so I can go to Cane's?
I mean, that's the pressing stuff that he's dealing with on a Tuesday, right? Right, Gardy?
Oh, this guy.
Gardy.
Hey, just a second. You have to get your siblings some stuff too. Go around and ask them. Gardner's
party.
He says Gardy party from Bobby. Okay. Well, still, I want your help. If I'm going to buy you lunch, you're going to get something for your siblings.
Yeah. Yeah, Gardy. Must be nice to just have a credit card at your disposal, huh? Look at him over there.
Everybody in the chat's like, feed me too.
I know. Look at him over
Oh,
there. The canes.
man.
Off the canes is where he goes. Yeah, you at least take care of your siblings, right? Like,
I mean, I
so
was gonna
good.
take them all out to lunch, but now he's like saying he needed to go do something else. I'm like, all right, just go feed the other kids.
Sarah's oldest right there, and he's got a golfer's body. Let me tell you, he is built like a
He
golfer.
is.
He's probably 6 inches taller from when I saw him in April. But
I'll tell you, he is the male version of me in both physically and personality wise. And so obviously Gardner is my maiden name. If I had named my second son Gardner, he is completely my husband's side. I don't know how, like, I dominated the gene pool for Gardner and he dominated it for Aiden. And I'm like, what if we had given them different names? Like, what if we had switched the names? Like, it just feels so appropriate that he's Gardner because he's completely me.
oh, totally.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
are literally, he is you. Just everything. For sure. I'm sure live chat's having a good time with that. Not often do you get interrupted over there, which is
No, they're actually pretty good.
when you think about how much takes place inside those walls, it's pretty
Yeah.
miraculous that that's the case. So happy Tuesday, happy Christmas break to the Ellison kids, I guess. BME 612 says, Bobby, share more on the Uber ride. Also,
oh my gosh.
did you see Mad's vid? Meaning Matabike? What's this now? And I assume Mads is Matabike, right? BME, can you clarify? Now, typically what he does, Sarah, is post on Instagram. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick search here and see if that is indeed the case. Did he?
I'm looking on Twitter.
Wait a second here. Did he delete his Twitter? Oh, no, it's Matabeeks. I forgot about that. It's not his actual spelling of his name. So we're going a little bit impromptu here, but let's see. Was it an Instagram story? Because if it is, it's no longer up. And I'm not seeing any videos. What's the chat saying?
I'm not seeing.
Nobody
I
seems
see
to know.
Miss Fancy Pants saying that she told us hours ago, when we've only been live for an hour. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Well, BME, if you could let us know. Maybe he might also be referring to what we're about to talk about here in a second, because some people are being like, no, it's the video.
Trippy had him on video, is what Miss Fancy Pants is saying.
Yeah.
I really want their names and not their.
I know.
Oh, she's saying exaggeration.
That's
okay.
Tisha.
Never mind. Okay. Well, I don't know.
But I think what he might be getting at here is the Isaiah Likely video, which we're actually about to get into right now. So,
yeah.
And then BME, here comes his clarifying super chat. Trippy had him on video on IG and Likely as well.
Oh, so it was, because we have Likely coming up, but we did not see Matabike.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, we're coming up on it here in a second. So thanks. And then as far as the Uber ride's concerned, maybe I can
maybe at the end.
Quick little. You guys will think this is hilarious. Goose Lex writes, L did it because media would have hounded him for quitting. Lamar making himself available. That's what Goose Lex thinks. And NX Kia 7312 for you.
So John can't drop his ego to save our team. He's forcing his hires and decisions, and they don't work. Keaton being off the team for 6 weeks. Zach, or with this terrible defense, rush over Huntley costed us. That is true. There's been a lot of they had Keaton Mitchell benched for weeks. You started Cooper Rush over Tyler Huntley. I just don't feel like Zach or. I mean, he doesn't have a pass rush, so maybe you can give him an excuse for that. There's no pass rush, so maybe he'd be a better defensive coordinator now. But missing on those other ones brings into question stuff like the offensive line and who's starting there and where. Yeah,
certainly. Okay, appreciate you guys for being with us on this Tuesday. Hope everyone's having a phenomenal start, wonderful week to this holiday season and Christmas season and everything that comes with it, travels and family and maybe work and so on and so forth. So over 2,600 of you concurrently joining us at the moment. If you could on the way in, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or gift giving membership today. And you can visit thevaultpod.com/shop if you want to check out our apparel line that we dropped at the start of this season. Sarah, Isaiah Likely was filmed leaving M&T Bank Stadium on Sunday night, and I think you and I are about to enter into deciphering mode because the clip is very unclear in terms of what he's – there's a couple words that you can certainly make out, which you made sure to censor with your editing somewhat.
Some I let slide, some I did not.
Some you let slide. And you want to know why? Because I pushed you to, because I was, Sarah, we can't decipher what the heck he's saying if we don't uncensor it. So point is, Isaiah Likely has since clarified these comments with a tweet, which we'll get to in just a second. But first, why don't you and I get into Sherlock Holmes mode and try and decipher what it is that Isaiah is saying to a fan exchange. Do we know who this came from, by the way? Was this a Trippy video?
I'm pretty sure it's Trippy. You'll hear the voice. Yeah.
All right,
here we go.
Hey, Likely, it's up to y'all, bro. 2 more games, bro. We can get another game at the bank. Come here, bro. Come here, bro.
Okay. Do we run it back once more?
Sure. Here we go.
Run that fucker back.
Hey, Likely, it's up to y'all, bro. 2 more games, bro. We can get another game at the bank. Come here, bro. Come here, bro.
I actually think I may have missed part of it, but whatever. Okay, so at Ravens Realm posted this from, I think, Trippy's Instagram, and he put it on Twitter. And he originally put that he quoted Likely as saying, "We," I don't know, "we A as F." Okay, "we A as F." Like he's
best segment
that.
Ever.
This is the best segment
ever.
This is not what I envisioned myself doing with my life. That on a middle of the afternoon, 2 to 3 days before Christmas, I'm trying to decide, did he say "we A as F" or just A as F? Like, so anyway, so Ravens Realm had "we" in there. Isaiah Likely didn't like it. He comes back and says, "Never once said my team is A. I said this S A as F." Okay. He says, "Y'all going to spin whatever narrative y'all have to go viral. I forever got my brother's back 100. Then bye-bye emoji." So I never heard the word "we." Okay. I never heard the word "we." It's too hard to make out. I definitely made out the rest. S A as F. And so whatever. Trippy's out there being like, "Hey, it's up to you guys. You got two games left." It's not like he was like, "Yeah, let's go get it. We're going to get this." So I don't know if he's calling Trippy names or if he's saying the situation is messed up. I don't know, but he certainly didn't reply and being like, "Yeah, we got this. We got 2 games left. I'm here for my brothers. We got this." That was not the message. So I don't know. I don't know what he's saying. What S, like what stuff is he referring to that is A as F? I have no clue. So I don't know, but it initially did seem like he was not bashing his team, but like certainly not confident in his team. And it still feels that way, even with the clarification.
Shoot, maybe it's his own stuff. You know, it might be his own stuff that's frustrating him. You know, I mean, he's coming off a game where he wasn't targeted once. Not one target. Charlie Kohler had 1. Andrews had 3 in terms of the tight ends. Zay Flowers led the way, 7 targets. He caught all 7 of those footballs. And we know, Sarah, that when you look at it 4 months ago, and a lot of our, predictive content going in as we were forecasting receiving yards, predicting catches, touchdowns, you name it. And just looking at this from, hey, who is going to be, the complement to Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman? And at the time, we thought that Rashad was going to continue on the upward trajectory after a career year. And instead, it's been anything but. Rashad has had maybe the most disappointing season of anyone on this team. And Isaiah Likely, Sarah's got to be right there neck and neck with him if he's not the most. Isaiah's in a contract year. We know the entire tight end room is. We know that Isaiah, based on reporting from Jeff Zaribek and others, bet on himself, declined the offer in the form of an extension that came his way prior to the year. And then ultimately, weeks before the season, came down awkwardly on a rep in coverage with, or Snoozy Kane was on the coverage, stepped on his foot, ends up with a fracture, having to get a procedure, misses the first month of the season. Who comes back right after he returns? who leaves right after he returns. Lamar with his hamstring. I mean, it has been a total nightmare for a couple pass catchers. And I have no idea whether or not that has anything to do with frustrations boiling here or the not most positive message ever as he walks out of the bank. But I do know that it could potentially be related because it's been a big disappointment for Isaiah.
It's been a big disappointment. I mean, listen, if he was calling the team, not good, he would be correct. If he would have called the game not good, like he would have been correct. If he would have called the fumble bad, he would have been correct. If he would have called his season bad, he would have been correct. So whatever he's referring to, it doesn't matter. Everything around the Ravens and in Baltimore right now is A as F. So it is what it is.
Now we're talking. This is literally the top segment that you will ever see here inside the vault.
Yeah.
Partner diving into the lingo. I love it.
Yeah. Wait.
And diving out.
Yeah. The Pro Bowl stuff. Where's that at?
Yeah, that's right here as well. I was going to go to the DK route first, but you were right. We did talk about the Pro Bowl nods being prior to the DK Metcalf news. And so 6 players, 6 Ravens, despite all of this disappointment that we speak of, have been named to the Pro Bowl. Pat Ricard among those. Zay Flowers, another. Tyler Linderbaum, Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, and Jordan Stout. Lamar, Mark, and Derrick are all Pro Bowl alternates. So this game has obviously lost the punch that it once packed, Sarah, in terms of what it means, the significance. But from a contractual standpoint, financial side of things, this does trigger, I would think, some language in some of these guys' contracts and ultimately helps them out on the back end. But other than that, this has really just become sort of a glorified celebration.
Yeah. I mean, it is crazy because if you really do have 6 Pro Bowlers, do we know where that ranks? We should probably look up the NFL email. Sometimes they put who has the most Pro Bowlers.
Oh,
but
they're tied for the most.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Tied for the most. And what's crazy is it's not crazy. I mean, Lamar didn't earn a Pro Bowl season this year. Obviously, he was too banged up the entire time. But it's crazy that the Ravens have 6 Pro Bowlers and 2 of them are not Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry.
Right.
Or even Mark Andrews, because he's been so many times.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is why the Ravens are the most disappointing team in the NFL this year. And you could debate that it goes back a few years.
Yeah.
Teams with the most Pro Bowlers, the Ravens, and 2 of them were not Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And it's just like,
well, let's be clear.
I'm sorry,
what you're seeing on the screen.
This should be a Super Bowl contending roster. It should be, but it's not.
Well, let's be clear. What you're seeing on the screen is one is unlike the other 3. 3 are bona fide postseason teams. Mm-hmm. The other is on the outside looking in. And for the audio-only audience, it's Denver, San Francisco, and Seattle, the other 3. That's where the Ravens find themselves in terms of overall Pro Bowlers, which, again, I can't believe that the Pro Bowl has gotten to this point.
Yeah, because Lamar's
so
like an
irrelevant.
alternate. How is Lamar an alternate? You know I love Lamar.
It's
but like
so
there's really nobody like ahead for that. Like he's hardly played this year.
It's a joke. Sorry to say it, but the Pro Bowl is a joke. As far as Zay Flowers is concerned.
You are sorry, quite frankly.
Sorry to be negative, but the Pro Bowl is a joke. Spot Rack says, though, with this, Zay Flowers, and this is what I mean by some of the nuance that when you do ultimately get the nod, it triggers certain things. Spot Rack, explaining why, for Zay Flowers, it's important. His second Pro Bowl nod escalates his 2027 fifth-year option salary to a projected $28 million. The Ravens are going to have to decide on that option by May 1st. Let's be honest, Sarah.
The Ravens are not doing that.
They ain't paying that.
We know the Ravens. We know the Ravens by now. They are not paying $28 million for a fifth-year option for Zay. And they have to decide it before May 1st. No, they're not doing it. I like this is going to keep coming up. I just know it's going to keep coming up from now until May 1st. They're not going to pay him $28 million. If anything, they would try to sign him long-term. And they're not going to, no, they don't even have the cap space for that. It's not happening.
Yeah. Let's both be on record for
But congrats on the Pro Bowl. And I do think he earned it. I'm still obviously irked by the fumble and his drops and all of that, but he did earn a Pro Bowl nod.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's played really well for this team. It's those handful of plays that obviously he wants back and the team wants back as well, because they've been, in some cases, game deciding setbacks. Now, what could ultimately decide Pittsburgh's next couple weeks, Sarah, is the fact that they are looking at reality of being without DK Metcalf, their number one wide receiver, for the next 2 games. He has been suspended for the rest of the regular season for his role in an altercation with a Lions fan on Sunday in Detroit. He is appealing the suspension, but obviously this is relevant because one of the things the Ravens need on top of winning out is for Pittsburgh to lose on Sunday at 1 o'clock in Cleveland. The plot has thickened.
The plot has thickened. I mean, it is kind of crazy what he did. We do have video. Do we want to see the video of what happened? Do we want to see that?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, here it is.
Go
if you
ahead.
haven't seen it already, so it sounds like, because and I'll bring up the report, but it sounds like he's had interactions with this fan in the past, and he's reported him to the NFL. We would play this volume because there is a dispute about what this fan said to make DK come over and grab him by like his collar, and then like kind of forces himself kind of back, not quite punching him, but almost kind of an upward motion there.
Well, he almost took him right over the ledge.
Yeah, dude, could you imagine DK Metcalf having a fistful of your shirt? Woo.
Look at that. I mean, take a look at the momentum real quick. I mean, right here is where he has to catch himself right there before he goes down, up and over.
Yeah, there's a better. Let me see if I can bring this angle in. There we go. Mute that. So yeah. I mean,
and he wasn't really falling, but it was
no, he wasn't going to fall. So you can see it there, but it's still got to be pretty crazy. So anyway, just so we know, here's the NFL's statement on it. Metcalf's actions violate league policy, which specifies that players may not enter the stands or otherwise confront fans at any time on game day, and if a player makes unnecessary physical contact. Because I've seen a lot of Steelers fans complain. Remember when Lamar pushed back was it a Bills fan?
Yeah, it was in Buffalo.
Yep. Buffalo, because like the Bills fan hit DeAndre Hopkins and like hit his head back, and then he went to go do it to Lamar, and Lamar. So Ravens fans and Steelers fans are fighting because Ravens fans are like, well, Lamar did it as self-defense. Like the kid or the guy had like pushed back DeAndre Hopkins' head and then went to do it to the next person, and Lamar was pushing him back off of them. So
the two situations could be any more different.
Very different. Like, but whatever. So it says if a player makes unnecessary physical contact, and that, or presents crowd control issues and or risk of injury, he will be held accountable. And then, so the NFL or Tom Pelissero did some reporting on it, and per Pelissero, Metcalf had reported the same fan to the Seahawks security last year when he played for Seattle. A source close to Metcalf told Pelissero that Kennedy is the guy's name, Ryan Kennedy, on Sunday called Metcalf's mother a derogatory word and called Metcalf, quote, something we both know you don't call a black man, close quote. On Monday, Kennedy issued a statement through an attorney that at no point before, during, or after the incident did Mr. Kennedy use racial slurs or hate speech of any kind. Ryan Kennedy categorically denies using the N-word, the C-word, or any racial, misogynistic, or hate-based slur during the incident that occurred on. Okay, so you get it. So it's a he said. The video that we had doesn't really, you can't hear what was said. So, and the end story as far as the Ravens are concerned is that, he will not be playing against the Browns, and DK Metcalf is almost, I mean, he's the passing game in Pittsburgh. I mean, you got tight ends that can do some stuff, but I mean, he's the biggest part of their passing game. Browns have a great defense, so I could see them stuffing him, but are the Browns going to be able to put enough points on the board? But once again, Bobby, just feels like, in some way, the football gods are almost trying to help the Ravens here by not having Aaron Rodgers' number one target on the field in a do or die game for the Ravens.
Oh, I'll tell you how much of the passing offense revolves around DK. The guy's got 850 receiving yards this year, 59 receptions on 99 targets. The next closest in receiving yards is their running back, Kenneth Gainwell, with 410. 410. So this offense goes as DK goes through Aaron Rodgers, obviously. And yeah, I mean, this is exactly what the Ravens needed, a little bit of a break here, but they obviously have to hold up their end of the bargain. And then to your point, can Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns put up points on their home turf against Pittsburgh? And then ultimately, we have no clue who's going to be playing in Green Bay. By the way, both quarterbacks remain uncertain. Jordan Love is in concussion protocol. It would be Malik Willis if he can't go. And then obviously if Lamar can't go with the back contusion, it'd be Tyler Snoop Huntley.
Yeah. Well, and RG3 pointed out, let me see if I can find it here. RG3 pointed out some irony here. He says Shedeur Sanders turned down the Ravens in the draft so he could have a clear path to playing, and he is playing now. Now Shedeur Sanders has a chance to keep the Baltimore Ravens season alive if he can lead his Browns to a win over the Steelers without star wide receiver DK Metcalf, who is now suspended. So come on, Shedeur. Listen, Shedeur, I've been rooting for you, bud. I've had your back. I wanted you in Baltimore. I wanted you to back up Lamar. You denied us. You can do this for us. He can do this for us, right? His dad was a Raven, right?
Well, look,
do this for us.
Look, I know on the other side of the ball, though, you're going to have a pretty motivated Myles Garrett who's got a chance to break the all-time single-season sack record. So they're going to be flying around. Whether or not Shedeur can follow suit with the offensive side of the ball, and to your point, put up enough points even without DK Metcalf to compete. It's at home. Shedeur has a lot to play for, a.k.a. his future. So, look, you can talk about the slim chances all we want. We had the 2% up there from Kalshi to start off this program. There is a chance. There is 2%. A chance.
We're channeling our inner Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber.
There's a chance that Week 18. Here's what I don't want. I don't want irrelevance Week 18.
Right.
I want to cover something meaningful with you. So because of my selfishness, let's go.
I will say this. We'll know because the Ravens play the Packers Saturday night.
Yep.
So
we'll know.
If the Ravens, by some chance, win that Saturday night, we will all be glued to this Cleveland-Pittsburgh game. But here's a question I have for you. It actually could be a poll. Maybe we'll do a poll tomorrow. Who do you have more confidence in winning? The Ravens beating the Packers or the Browns beating the Steelers? That's where we are. Yeah, that's where we are.
I guess I got to wait for the Lamar news to drop.
Okay,
because
Lamar,
if it's not, that's a heck of a debate.
What if Lamar and Love are playing?
If Lamar and Love are playing, do I have more confidence in the Ravens or the Browns? Is that the question?
Correct. This is gonna be a poll tomorrow. And then on the flip side, is it Huntley versus who'd you say would be their quarterback?
Malik Willis. I gotta think about
versus Tyler. I gotta think about that matchup.
I genuinely don't know the answer to your question. It's a heck of a good poll. Let's go with it tomorrow, and you and I will answer it tomorrow. How about that?
Yeah. I swear on my life, though, it's gonna be so funny if the Ravens win, and then we're pinning our hopes on the Browns. And then it'll be like I said the other day with like the Dolphins. I was like, shame on me for like even having any hope in the Dolphins. And I could just see myself being like, shame on us for having any hope in the Browns.
Yes. But this is AFC North play, baby. I think there's going to be a lot. I think it's going to be a good game.
And it's in Cleveland.
It's in Cleveland.
It's going to be up against the lake. It's going to be cold.
Yes. And you've got an organization that is on, I would think, the doorstep of a lot of change. I would imagine Kevin Stefanski's seat is hot. Yeah. So there's a lot to play for, including Shedeur, of course, who's going to be starting his 4th or 5th career game, something like that. So still a really young player trying to establish himself in the league. And I look forward to revisiting a phenomenal poll question.
Okay.
By my co-host coming up tomorrow.
But then I want a certain answer from you also tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Not just a poll. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds good. To be continued.
To be continued.
Okay. Let's get to some super chats.
Yeah.
And then we got to get out of here.
Yeah. Do we have any more quick hits? Just real quick, this one. Did you guys see that stray firework the other day?
I saw this tweet.
Actually, let me see. Oops, not that. I actually have video of it. Where is it? Here we go. about this? Isn't that crazy?
Just run that back.
Yeah.
Whoa, look out. Oh my
Like,
gosh.
right? It almost hit somebody there, it looks like.
Yeah,
Is there a
that's
dude?
Stafford
There's like
right
somebody there.
Oh my
Boom.
gosh.
He did you see him jump at the end maybe?
Yeah. Whoa.
Ooh,
That was close.
that's crazy.
I mean, of course, it's way zoomed out, so how close was it? But that
Yeah.
looked close. I mean, so
Yeah.
the Ravens, did the Ravens issue a statement on that at all?
Not that I've seen.
Yeah.
It really hasn't taken, I mean, I don't feel like that video has gotten too much play.
Yeah. People are worried about other things right now. And
Ravens Gunny saying I would have caught it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll end up like Jason Pierre-Paul. Don't do that. Okay. Dozy Dope says, at this point, I'm expecting the rest of Lamar's career to be wasted unless Harb's crew is replaced. BME says, Bobby, I just sent you the Mads vid on Instagram.
Oh, okay. Why don't you bring it up? Well, let me read these. Why don't you bring it up?
Did you, BME? Let's see.
Let's see. Where are you here? Bobby just sent you. Okay. While he looks that up, oh, you've been doing the names for us. I forgot how comforting that is when you do it.
I call him Azrael.
Azrael. Okay.
Yeah.
He says, I love America. I love Harbaugh as our head coach. Hashtag MAGA baby. Merry Christmas, y'all. Oh, he's gonna get people mad in the live chat.
I call him Azzy. He's kind of hot and cold to me. You never know what he's gonna say. But Merry Christmas to you, Azzy.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. At EM, Cass says, scale 1 to 10. How confident do you feel Bisciotti would actually follow through and fire Harbaugh? Also, Illy guys.
I love you guys.
Oh, I love you guys. Typically can't make the live stream, but I listen daily. You've kept me sane this season. Thank you for supporting us daily. I'm at a 5. I don't know what Bisciotti's thinking right now. 5 is dead center. Have no clue. Because how would we know? Because he doesn't talk.
Yeah, the only thing I could say, and appreciate you, Em. The only thing I can say is I'm with you, Sarah. How do you have any kind of feel other than this feels a little bit different in terms of how loud it's gotten than past years? It's almost universally loud right now. National,
the loudest
regional,
I've
local.
seen in the Harbaugh era, even in 2017.
It's coming from everywhere, every direction. Double F says Baltimore is up to 13% now after the DK news. Okay, so that's actually interesting. That's what I saw a follow-up super chat on that, or a comment that was like, hey, that 2%, was that updated since the DK Metcalf suspension? So apparently it was not updated what we had at the top of the show. So thanks to Double F. Captain Hart says, I think it's more than 2%. I think the Browns can beat the Steelers if we win against the Packers, which again, we will know going into Sunday, Sarah, whether or not that game means anything from a Ravens perspective.
Everybody has their different numbers. So right now, the New York Times has the Ravens at a 6% chance. So maybe Cowshe has them at, what did they say, 14, 13? 13.
Yeah.
So I guess it may also depend on the model that you're using.
Yeah. As far as BME's Instagram, I don't have anything.
Okay. We'll have to follow up on that tomorrow.
The Mad video. But speaking of follow-up, before we get out of here, just because BME asked about the Uber, maybe people think this is a little reason for laughter on our way out here.
Okay.
I took an Uber yesterday from St. Pete to the Clearwater Airport on my way home, and had this interaction with my Uber driver. Certainly, this was a first for me. Let me know what you guys think of this. Come on now, buffer up.
Well, you make sure you tell them that when you appealing. Make sure you tell them that. Because when have y'all ever seen drugs in my system?
Exactly. But no, that's what they say when they sleep, though, when they put in the sleep.
Okay, but you got to let them know that, because if you don't, they going to try to play you. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you for using Global Telling.
I ain't stupid.
Is that it?
Yeah. He only had.
What do you guys get? 5 minutes?
He called on his free call.
Oh, okay.
He called on his free call. Now, I'm going to tell you, that one now.
Let's go over there and bail his ass out. Come on.
No, he can't get one. He already in Orlando. That's where he was,
Oh,
Orlando.
is that? Okay.
Yeah, he already in OCI. But the thing about it is, remember what I told you when that stuff just happened at Jets? The little boy be around the corner from them. But you want to fight my brother, you know? But like I told my brother, and I tell you the same.
All right, you guys ready for some context? Because I probably should have read the caption before I
Yeah,
actually started
before.
playing
Yeah.
that. So that was my Uber driver. Don't even know her name, but she's really quite a trip. And so she got a call from her younger brother who's doing 25 to life in an Orlando-based prison cell. And she asked me if she could take it. I was like, of course, take it. But then it ended up being like between the three of us, like she wanted to take it on speaker. And then she's like, hey, I have a customer in the car. And I'm like, hey, what's up, brother? Like I was like, hey, how you doing? And so we started chatting, the three of us. And then afterwards, she got into the specifics of what went wrong in his life. And there was just, man, what a ride. And then at the end, she told me, yeah, I usually do Uber Eats. I'm like, okay, this makes so much more sense. You usually have food to carry around, not a human. Okay.
You
But
said
hey,
25 to life.
as I said, I'll tell you what, though.
Go ahead.
Listen, every white boy needs himself an auntie, and that's my new auntie.
The
That's
chat
my
was
new
asking
auntie.
if she was single for you.
Uh,
But there was so much going on there, especially like you're there. You obviously have been on TV for quite so many years. You like take off your sunglasses. You got the camera on yourself. You point it to her for a second. You bring it back to you. You put your glasses back on. You're blowing bubbles with your gum. You're just hamming it up for the camera. And then at one point she calls somebody. He's like, that little boy. And just it's just the whole thing. He's 25 for life. And from what I do understand is like, hey, if somebody calls from prison, you got to pick up.
Yeah.
There's no like, hey, I'll get you back in 5 minutes. Like that's their time.
Yes.
So no matter what you're doing, you gotta take it. You gotta take it.
And Monday's free. Mondays are free for him.
See,
so she needed to pick that up. And to be clear in the life, there's nothing funny, obviously, about 25 to life. There was a sense of as I started to think about it, more and more somber. It's Christmas week. He's in his 30s. He's in there for life. It was a really brutal situation. I won't share, the specifics on that. There was loss of life. There was, all that. So from that angle, nobody's laughing about that. Hopefully not. It was more so just, me and Auntie on the way to the Uber driver. She's my auntie, and she started lecturing my arse afterwards about, it's not worth it. It's this, that, and the other. I hope you have your life together and that. So, anyway, for BME's super chat, that was my Instagram story that some were asking about. So there you have it.
There you go.
Okay, partner. You and I went 90 plus today, just because hey, there's a lot going on in this world right now from a Ravens perspective, and I expect that to continue. You and I will be out and off on Thursday for Christmas. The rest of the week, you and I have to still discuss, so be on the lookout for that, guys. We will be back tomorrow, and we'll figure out what our plans are for the rest of the week. We will have a repurposed video on Isaiah Likely dropping at 4 o'clock today. And as always, Vaultrons, we appreciate your support. If you could like the video on the way out, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell if you haven't already done so. And thanks to Mance Asleep for continuing to sponsor this show. For Sarah, I'm Bobby. Thank you, Vaultrons. And as always, we appreciate you guys for spending some time with us here inside the vault.